Today I want to talk about a concept that will eventually become a theme of the charisma matrix. And that is the idea that in any interaction, one person is responding more to the other. One person is more emotionally reactive. They're more engaged. They have more, it seems, to win or lose in the interaction than the other person. Now, however subtle or dramatic it may be, it's always there. It's never a 50-50 playing field. And I like to call this the interaction equilibrium. Picture a seesaw with two people sitting, one on one end, one on the other. You always want to be at least 50-50 with that seesaw not moving, and on occasion a little bit higher, 55-45, even 60-40, when you're trying to use that in your favor. The reason for this is nobody sees other people as confident or charismatic when they put the person they're talking to above them. It's not a very flattering, it doesn't behoove them, and it just doesn't give off the right signals about yourself. Now, the reason this is important is because confidence is so hard to fake. Some people can fake it for 15 seconds, some people can fake it for 45 seconds, but it's very, very difficult to fake. And the reason this is so important is because confidence is such an all-telling behavior. Now think of it this way. We know a little bit about some people, we know a lot about some people, but no one knows more about themselves than the person. They know everything there is to know, and they're always analyzing, how do I stack up against this person? How do I stack up against this person? Think of the last time you interacted with someone you didn't know who was a very low level or very low status person. For instance, you're at a restaurant and some 17-year-old boy comes over to take your order and you're interacting with him. How do you feel? You feel no emotional engagement whatsoever. You're not nervous. You are who you are. Your natural personality comes out. Now think of the last time you interacted with someone who was famous or very high value or high status or had a lot of money or whatever puts you at a little bit of discomfort. Remember how that felt in your body. You probably felt like you couldn't be quite as expressive, or you couldn't be yourself, or you were restricted in your emotions, or how much you let out of what you were thinking, and how controlled you tried to be of what this person thought of you. Were you trying to be very cool? Were you really in your head, if I do this, what will this person think? All these scatter-minded things are going through your head, and evolution has wired us to be that way. The problem is, when all that stuff is going through your head and you're micromanaging how you're perceived, it comes across as very low status. So when the person you're interacting with, or people are seeing you interact with this person, see that very low status behavior, you're perceived as low status, and most likely in that situation, you are low status. Going forward, the lessons that I'm going to teach you are going to help you maintain that equilibrium, okay? When you're talking to people of very high value that make you intimidated, it's going to be very easy and natural for you to slowly go down and for them to go up. What we always want to be doing is using what we know to keep that equilibrium, to be sure that they think as highly of us as we think of them. This can go for a boss. This can go for a new person you're trying to meet and put on a good face and have a good impression. This can go for when you're meeting a girl out at the club. This is going to be applicable in many different scenarios, which is why I'm going to focus on it immensely going forward. So now your body and brain will tell you, listen, a year ago when I interacted with this middle manager, he was on the pedestal, he was very intimidating to me. Now that I've applied some of these lessons and some of these tactics, a new way of looking at things, it's more of an even interaction. Now when I interact with upper management, or now when I interact with someone who's even more intimidating to me, my brain and body tell me, well, you've had success with this, or you have it in the past. So let's try this with them. And that is how the micro expressions and everything that you're not going to be able to consciously manage is going to catch up with the bigger actions as your brain truly believes that you are, and you are actually becoming a higher value communicator. There's a saying that goes, people are worried about 3 different perspectives of themselves. What they think about themselves, what other people think about them, and the most important, what they think other people think about them. Interaction is a hugely self-fulfilling prophecy. If you think you're at a certain level compared to another person, you will be perceived that way and you will become that way. If you think you're at this level compared to another person, you will be perceived that way and become that way. People are amazingly accepting of the way that other people perceive themselves. The reason for this is that it is so hard to fake communication. Yeah, you can worry about your hand gestures, you can worry about your great eye contact and your tonality and your facial expressions, but there are so many intangible micro expressions, sub-communications that you're never consciously going to be able to manage. So over a longer period of time of interaction, the aspects you can't manage are the aspects that become more important and truly show your hand of how you think of yourself and how you position yourself in your mind against the person you're communicating with. That is the hardest part of communication to fake, and that is why so much judgment and perception goes in to those aspects of communication. Now, what we want to do is implement small lessons that we can immediately apply that will have a big impact on the communication and how we're perceived. As those lessons take hold and we see how people treat us differently, our brain will tell us, wow, maybe we are in a little different position, and that's when the sub-communication will catch up with the conscious lessons and techniques that you're going to apply. I hope you got a lot of value out of this concept because this is something I'm going to be talking about immensely going forward and is going to have a huge impact on your overall charisma, competence, and communication ability.